I kept on being told that my little Chinese digger was too small. But is bigger always better? Obviously bigger's always better, so I went shopping. So many of you wanted to see us tackle some proper jobs with a big piece of kit, so we got one. This is the Hitachi ZX33U. It is 3.3 tons of Japanese hardware, and we plan to make some pretty cool content with it. On the Chinese micro digger, we didn't mind taking a bit of a gamble because it simply didn't cost that much. But this was expensive, and if it goes wrong, even more expensive. So we wanted Japanese. There are loads of tasks you guys have been asking us to have a go at with something like this, and we're going to show you those in a moment. But first,
a little tour, which won't take long because neither of us know anything about diggers. It is a couple of years old with just under a couple of thousand hours on it. A couple of thousand hours for a digger like this isn't much at all. And it's also had a very well maintained life. We deliberately didn't get one that had been hired out to people like us. This has been used by a civil engineering company who looked after it properly. What can I tell you about it? It's got a bucket, came with 2 others, and our first thing we're going to buy to go on it is probably going to be a 4th bucket because we want a tilting bucket. The hydraulics can move from side to side. We'll explain why that's going to be important a bit later on. It's also got, which was a must-have for us, hydraulic hitch. So you can disconnect the bucket and connect to a new bucket from inside the cab, pushing a button. You don't have to be fiddling about out here. It's got the hydraulics on it ready to go for the tilting bucket. Oh, and the other thing we're going to have on here as well is a thumb. A lot of the work we're going to be doing with it is going to be up in the woods where we need to move trees around, logs and stuff. So a thumb that can come down and grab those will be handy. It's filthy inside. Actually, before it arrived, and then for about 10 minutes after it arrived, I had big plans to wash it, clean it. I was even going to get one of those little steam cleaners that you buy from QVC at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're drunk. And then I started playing with it, and that was far more fun. So it might never get cleaned. I say it's filthy inside. As diggers go, it's actually not that bad. What we discovered when we moved to the countryside is that items that are used in agriculture or construction have a different way of being treated to ones outside of those industries. For example, when we first went to look at buying a second-hand truck, which was our original plan here, we're going to get an old Toyota Hilux. It looked like every single one that was available for sale had been abused by one of these. They were all absolutely wrecked, but apparently that was just the norm. So this is actually in pretty good nick. Let me show you inside. It's pretty comfy in here. I'm 6'6". We wanted one that was quite spacious. Look out the front without having to worry about glass being in the way. Window opens over here. Obviously the door locks back. So on a hot day, or just a day like today where I don't want to feel too stuffy inside here, it can be all nice and open. Little computer screens that we don't really know what it does yet at the moment. Makes it go faster, makes it go slower. Puts my blade at the front up and down. Buttons that do stuff. The most important thing though, it's got air conditioning. And having just come off the back of a heat wave in the UK, the idea of being sat in this enclosed little box, even with all the windows open, over the last couple of weeks would have been horrific. There's not a lot else to show you. There's pedals on the floor and stuff. I mean, if you're watching this to learn how to use a digger, good grief, are you on the wrong channel? You'd have thought there'd be a little step for, you know, the less able among us. And then it's got other things. I mean, do people even want to see? It's got like an engine type thing in the back of it. Look at that. I mean, it's got one of those in there. You know, it's got all the stuff in there that you want in there. That's nice, isn't it? And then it's got a little door over here. Some of that. That's all really important. And then around the front, actually, I'm going to impress you here with my knowledge. That's where the fuel goes. I do know it is an awful lot more fun than that Chinese thing. Let's talk about some of the things it's going to get used for here.
This is why we want that thumb. We have acres of woodland here and it's littered with trees on the floor like this. Being able to pick this up and move it into the open where it's safer and easier to chainsaw is going to be great. Since we moved here, you guys have been saying that you want to see us tidy up our woods with an excavator. Now you're gonna.
Ditches. To say the ditches here have suffered from lack of maintenance over the years is an understatement. Where I am right now, I should probably be about 2.5 feet lower down. If I was, the water could run down it. Because the water can't go away down to the wet areas where it doesn't matter, all the land out in front of me basically has this water sat in this ditch seeping into it, and it makes where Jen stood filming at the moment incredibly wet. It's damp now, give it a couple of months of rain and it's just soup. Clearing out these ditches, which is something that we could do with a smaller digger, but we've just been told time and time again by people commenting on the videos, no, let us see you do it with something the right size. How do you get on with that?
We have been sent more YouTube videos on how to deal with natural springs than anything else. The reason it's wet here
and here, no,
and bouncy here is because water has been trickling out the ground here all year non-stop. We need to watch those videos again to know exactly how we're going to deal with it, but we are going to deal with it.
As an example of the insane number of jobs we have to do here, this is one that I nearly walked past to go and show you something else, and Jen said, oh, don't forget to mention this. There is a pipe under the ground there that's supposed to take water underneath the ground here, and it comes out down there and then goes off down the stream. As you can see, the pipe's blocked, and so what's happened, the water flows over the top and has eroded the bank away. My original plan was to use a small digger and just make a little channel here for the water to flow down more neatly. But everyone said, no, let's see you have a go at doing some proper rural construction, dig it out, put a new pipe in and basically make a new culvert. So, to entertain the masses, I'm going to. Right, the last job to show you, but probably the first one we're going to have a go at doing. Do you remember this? Hundreds of thousands of people saw us improve this area in a YouTube video, and it doesn't look like much of an improvement right now. What happened here was that in order to deal with floods in the winter, we dug a channel down the middle, put a perforated pipe in, and it was exquisitely done. Apart from me cracking my arm, getting sepsis and nearly dying. Skip that part though, that doesn't matter. The problem was, we then filled back in on top with all the kind of loose clay mush and effectively capped over the top of what we'd done. So when the rain came, the water sat on the top, didn't get into the drain, and it became mush. Then the pigs escaped from where the pigs are supposed to be, and they came over here and just tore it all up for fun. I keep being told, grading is the skill that a beginner won't be able to master with a big digger. Let's see you try. So we're going to. One of the reasons we want a tilting bucket is because a surface like this will be even better if we can grade it with a slope down to one side, so all the water will run down here. And when you've got a fixed bucket, well, you can imagine if you can tilt your bucket, everything becomes a bit easier. So that's why we want the tilting bucket.
Time for us to have some fun. We couldn't finish this video without showing you guys this thing in action. No, it looks like I broke it.
Once we said that we were thinking of getting a bigger digger, a question that we got asked a lot and one that we want to know the answer to, what else can it do besides digging?
For example, can it replace a tractor or a forklift or a telehandler? It's one people asked a lot because if it can, it ends up being incredibly good value for money. So let's test it and see. We have these crates of wood dotted about all over the place, and more recently we started using mesh bags to do the same thing. Basically, when a tree has come down and needs processing into firewood, we chop it up where it fell, and that's where the wood gets stacked until we're ready to move it into one of the long-term store areas. Our original plan had been to upgrade the tractor to one that could run a pallet lift on the back and then use that to move these things around, but if this works, it'll be a far better option. And it did perfectly. This means we can put these anywhere and move them whenever we need to. On this occasion, we're simply moving them closer to the track so that we can grab them in the autumn without having to put the digger on the grass again. Our digger skills might need refining, but that costs nothing and a bigger tractor costs a lot. By the third crate we got the hang of it and also realised that ditching the bucket and attaching the chain directly to the hitch was far more sensible.
Job done. We're now going to tidy up our yard, which doesn't sound very exciting, but
It is, to say the least, necessary. The problem is everything gets stored here, so it's been months since we had this space clear to park a car on. Not that parking a car here was always the most sensible idea, but it's nice to have the option. But because everything here is so heavy, it ends up left where the delivery drivers put it. Well, not anymore, because we can now sort this area with ease. Apart from that bag which had a hole in the bottom, the rest will be done with ease. And this was one of the reasons we went for a 3.3 ton digger. There are a huge number available under 3 tons because that can be towed in the UK behind a regular 4x4. This thing is too heavy so can't and needs to be moved around on something much bigger like the truck it was delivered on. But that doesn't matter to us because it's never leaving the property. What matters is being able to pick up stuff that weighs a ton and still track around. And if you're thinking that bag of sand doesn't weigh a ton, no it doesn't, but this box of patio slabs does. And while it's not pretty, it is moving. After just one tank of diesel, extreme stress and tension and almost a divorce, everything was shifted to a better spot for long-term storage. And the driveway now looks like this.
It is time for the final test for the digger today. It's the one that I'm not entirely convinced it's going to pass.
This is our sheep shelter that you might remember us building when the weather was horrendous. You can't tell because it's sunk into the mud, but this thing was built on metal skids.
Now the reason it was built on skids is because the ground does get wet here, especially in the winter, and being able to shift it backwards, forwards along the top of the field would be very handy. We assumed, rather naively, that our quad bike would be able to pull it around. We even went so far as to bring in the Ford Raptor up here and trying to pull it with that. And all that happened was that the truck just span its wheels up.
The hope is the digger will have no such problems, but I thought that about the truck, so this time I'm remaining sceptical. Jen, on the other hand, is convinced the digger will do it. Rather than just hold on to the stable and track backwards, the plan is to drop the digger's blade in the ground with the arm at full stretch and then pull the stable towards it. That will also allow for some upward force to be applied, which might help given it's sunk into the mud. And it doesn't need to go far. At this stage, the stable's fine where it is. We just want to know if it's going to be doable when it does need shifting. Today, if we can move it 6 inches with ease, then that will be a huge result. And as it turned out, it could probably have pulled 2 of them at once. It seems this thing does plenty more than dig.
Exactly what I thought, it has moved it with ease. We are going to leave it here for now, but when it does need to be moved, we have no concerns about doing so. We've got loads planned for this, but get in the comments and let us know what you want to see first. And if you have any technical questions about the machine, don't ask us, we don't have a clue.